Good evening, friends. Today we are going to see on symptomatology the next important topic on perception. Before going to the channel, I request the people to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Let us move on to the very interesting topic. It is nothing but perception. Okay, what does this perception means? It is nothing but a person in an environment, how he or she is going to react through that particular stimulus is very important, and they are going to just receive the stimulus and they are going to interpret the stimulus and they are going to respond to that particular stimulus in an environment. Then what we call it as perception. Okay, now for this deviant behavior, does this perception is going to alter the individual? Of course, it will alter the individual. How? Now we are going to see in detail about how perception is affecting the mentally ill clients. Okay, so very important words that we should remember in perception is, it is something a person in an environment, either with the stimulus or without the stimulus, how the person is going to interpret. That is what is perception in mental illness. Okay, right. Then this perception can be of two forms. It can be hallucination or it can be illusion. Okay, and we have two more things, that is depersonalization and derealization. Now each one we see in detail about it. Okay, right. What does this hallucination means? When I say hallucination, it is nothing but it's one form of perception disorder where there will be some sensory deprivation. Means in an external stimuli, there will not be any stimulus that is present in the environment, but the perception of an individual will think that there is a stimulus. Okay, there will be a misinterpretation of an individual. Say for example, this a client with hallucination, nobody will be in a room, that the client will be alone and there is no person inside that particular room, but the tendency of that particular client might talk so much, so loudly, and when we enter into that room, there is no person to communicate, or he is not talking in a mobile also. Okay, now when we ask him, what happened to you? The client says, see, he's telling me to hang myself. Okay, so there is no stimulus, but the person misinterprets. Okay, then it is called as hallucination. We have various types of hallucinations. Number one, the person might have auditory hallucination, the person might have visual hallucination, olfactory hallucination, gustatory hallucination, then the person might have haptic hallucination or kinesthetic hallucination. Okay, now first thing is auditory hallucination. As I told you the previous example, where a person without any stimulus tend to speak when the person is alone. Okay, in that case the person says, if the client might say he knows who is talking to him, then it is the first person, the second person hallucination. If the client says that he is hearing some sounds, then it is first person hallucination. What is then the third person hallucination? The person might not be knowing where from the stimulus is. Okay, he does not know who the persons are arguing. So there might be two people or two group of people where there might be a quarreling and asking the client to run away, all those things. He might not be knowing who those two people are. Okay, then it becomes a third person hallucination. So we should understand, in hallucination we have first person, second person and third person. In first person, the client will hear some sounds within himself, then it is who, ha, like that sound the person tend to get. In that case it is called as first person hallucination. When the client feels some of his loved ones or people whom the client knows might be giving command, where there will not be any people in front of the client, then it is called as second person hallucination. Again, third person hallucination, there will not be people in and around him, but he hears a sound that group of people whom the client does not know might be quarreling or giving command to the client. Then it is called as third person hallucination. Okay. Now, the first person hallucination you called as a thought echo. Okay. Now, have you known about what is perception and what are the types of perceptual disturbances that we have? Is the hallucination, illusion, depersonalization and derealization. In hallucinations, we have various forms, that is auditory hallucination, then we have olfactory hallucination, visual hallucination, haptic hallucination, tactile hallucination, haptic hallucination otherwise called as tactile hallucination, and kinesthetic hallucination. Okay, now we have seen about what is the auditory hallucination. Okay, next let us see what is the visual hallucination. In case of a person who is a chronic alcoholic or a person who usually tend to take substance abuse, or example cannabis, then the person might have some sort of visual hallucination. Example, the person might tell that within his, where the client is residing, or in a particular room where the client is there, he will not have any person coming near to him or with white dress or not, the person, you can't see anything, but the client says, you see there one person who's coming towards me, going to hit me. Okay, when a nurse look at that, there will not be any stimulus. Okay, so the visual perceptual misinterpretation happens only for the client, then it is called as visual hallucination. Okay, so then we'll see about what is the olfactory. Olfactory is nothing but smell. There will be a sensory deprivation in the smell. Okay, for example, there is a I'm telling an example where everybody are there, you have a very good fragrance smell. Okay, and everybody are enjoying that, but the client, where you don't have that bad smell, where you there is a dead body firing. Okay, the client says that some bad smell I can smell it out. Okay, so in that case the person is having there is no stimulus like a dead body firing, but still the person tries to say, in that case it is a olfactory hallucination. Okay, when it comes to gustatory, it is a taste, where gustatory hallucination, everybody will be having an example. I'm telling, everybody will be having a delicious food. Say for example, everybody are tasting the biryani, there is a stimulus of biryani and they say it is very nice. Okay, but the in the diet, when they are having, they don't have bitter gourd. Okay, everybody are having that very delicious diet biryani, but the client who's suffering with that particular gustatory hallucination might tend to say that I can sense a bitter taste of tasting some bitter gourd. Okay, so there is no stimulus, but the patient says I'm feeling a bitter taste, then it is called as gustatory hallucination. Next comes the tactile hallucination, or otherwise called as haptic hallucination. In that case, the person tend to tell when there is no stimulus like insects crawling on the body of the client, but the client says, sister, look at me, how these insects are crawling on me, spiders are crawling on me, like that they tend to say. In that case, the client is suffering with haptic hallucination. Okay, next comes the kinesthetic hallucination. It is called as, sometimes called as phanatoid phenomena. Okay, where people tend to say my hands are not my hands, my joints are not my joints. In that case, it is called as kinesthetic hallucination. Okay, having seen what are the various forms of hallucination, next we'll move on to the next perceptual disturbance called illusion. Okay, hallucinations without any external stimulus, the person misinterprets and says that there is some disturbance, then it is called as hallucinatory behavior. Okay, now coming on to the illusion. Illusion is nothing but misinterpretation in the presence of a stimuli. Okay, then it is called as illusion. Okay, say for example, the person who's walking on a road, okay, sees a rope and says it is a snake, then there is no, you don't have a snake, but by seeing a rope he misinterprets as a snake. These are typical examples that you can see in illusion. Or when you ask a client by showing a mobile and you ask him what it is, the client may say it is a notebook, then it is called as a illusion. It is a perceptual disturbance. You are showing a stimuli, but the client perceives and interprets in a wrong way or misinterprets in a wrong way. Okay, then it is called as illusion. Okay, right. Next comes the depersonalization and derealization. What is the depersonalization? Personalization means something that is related to me, okay, but I am misinterpreting that. Example, my head is not my head, my hands are not my hands. When something that are which are present in me, I tend to tell that is not mine, then it is called as depersonalization. Okay, I am misinterpreting. Okay, then derealization. Example, whatever that is in and around the environment in a reality situation, when people tend to see a real tree or a real trees or plants with a beautiful flowers, etc., but everybody enjoys that. But the client who's having a problem with the misinterpretation, having a derealization, tend to tell that those are not real trees, those are not real flowers, those are not real trees. In that case, the person is suffering with derealization. Okay. So today's presentation we have seen what is perception, what is the disorders of perception means, and what are the disorders of perception. We have various forms, say hallucination, illusion, depersonalization and derealization. And we have seen what is auditory hallucination, what is olfactory, what is visual, what is gustatory, what is haptic, and what is kinesthetic hallucination. Then we have seen what is illusion and what depersonalization and derealization means. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.